that.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. Just want to do a quick shout out to Evie Brooklyn, who gave us a shout out in one of her latest videos.
And also promoted our Facebook group, Christian Cult Survivors.
Yes.
Thank you, sweetie.
Yes.
Loved your video, by the way. I always love her videos.
Yes. I just love that New England Brooklyn accent.
Well, not only that, but let's face it, Brooklyn, New Yorkers, they're very blunt and in your face. And that's how a lot of us Americans are, aren't they? We're kind of like us, just kind of in your face and mocking and showing the ridiculousness.
Well, here, I kind of think this movie clip sums it up.
Americans.
See, we shoot first and ask questions later.
Yeah. So, are we going to do some shooting of Watchtower today?
Oh, I hope so. I hope so.
You know us.
But you got some more shout outs.
We want to give some shout outs to Ryan Finley and Sarah Halford, and newly out, and we want to say hi and welcome to the XGW community.
Can we actually say their real name now?
They told me to give.
Oh, cool. See, that shows that Jehovah's Witnesses are breaking through the undue influence, because now they're no longer afraid to have their real names. Some of them no longer afraid to have their real identities exposed.
Yeah.
So welcome aboard.
And we want to say hi to Joe and his family, who are newly out and are the victims of an elder's witch hunt. So hang in there, sweeties.
Yeah.
Yeah, we feel your pain. We know what it's like.
We know what it's
stressful.
like.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when you're dealing with a cult of this magnitude, these are some of the consequences that we have to face when we're waking up and realizing that our entire lives have been nothing but an absolute lie.
Yeah. So hang in there, guys, and everybody else, you know, who's going through the same thing.
Yeah, and anything that Kim and I can do to help, words of encouragement, please email us. We can telephone call. We can Skype. One of the reasons why Kim and I have not done any recent videos is because we've been spending a tremendous amount of time Skyping and on telephone calls with current Jehovah's Witnesses coming out. It's just, I just wish everybody could see Kim and I's side of the computer and how many current Jehovah's Witnesses are contacting us, because they like, I guess they like our flamboyancy doing YouTube videos. We're just not the same.
And it doesn't seem to be one or two in a family. It seems to be families. There's been at least 3 families that we know of in the past 6 months. So this is so encouraging for us.
Yeah.
And, you know, we support you guys. And
anything we can do. Anything we can do to help you along your journey, we'll do whatever we possibly can.
Yep. And speaking of those who have come out, we have someone who has to remain anonymous at this point because of the valuable information
Are we referring to Duke?
Hey, Duke.
Hey, Duke.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we're slowly getting through everything you have sent us. But he has sent us some interesting stuff.
Yeah, now this one actually is going to start about a year ago, correct?
Yeah.
Because we kind of need to put this one in full context first.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to add into any of this information that we may possibly not have at this point.
Yeah, please add it into the comments down below.
Put it down in the comments.
And also, I think this is also done too, because there's a lot of us in the United States that just don't really know the full significance of what's going on with the new Bethel home that they're building in London, in England, or the UK. The UK. Yeah.
Yeah. It's in London right now, but they're moving it. So please bear with us. Like I said, we don't have all the details, and
but we do have enough to mock. We got enough to mock. Oh yeah.
Always.
Yeah. We just cannot let this go.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk about the meeting part here in just a few minutes. But anyway, we have a letter here that was sent out from the London branch, and the letter is dated August 1st, 2013. Now, we know this from a year ago, but this was the proposal for the new project, okay?
Correct.
And I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to highlight some of the things. And, of course, it says, Dear Brothers, it's to all congregations, and it's regarding the Bethel expansion project. and they're talking about their growth and how it's just been outstanding and all of that. Okay, and it says 3 years ago, the governing body gave us approval to investigate the viability of either consolidating our branch operations in Mill Hill or to relocate to a new site. Okay, so since then they have been considering all of this. Now, what's interesting is they have a section here so that the work can progress smoothly. There are a number of ways in which you can help. Guess what the number one way is? Oh, yeah, you got it. Any expansion project will be very expensive, so you may start saving and contributing to the worldwide fund. Proverbs 3, 9, and 10 highlights both the privilege and the resulting blessings. Honor Jehovah with your valuable things and with the first fruits of all your produce. Then your stores of supply will be filled with plenty, and with new wine your own press vats will overflow. So start saving now. A year ago.
Yeah, a year
Wow.
ago. Now, there was something else you highlighted on the bottom. Did you want to bring that out too? Yeah.
With your support and Jehovah's blessings, we know we will be able to care adequately for for kingdom interests in Britain and Ireland.
Now, this is interesting for me at least, because shouldn't this be worded with Jehovah's blessings and your support? No, the first thing that they implant when they're soliciting funds is, we need your support. With your support, then God can bless us. It should be the other way around as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It should be
Good point.
God's blessings and your support, we will find this to be a success.
But with your support and Jehovah's blessings.
But are they finding success? We'll get to that. Okay, now we also have a article from the Chelmsford Weekly News.
Chelmsford Weekly. Chelmsford?
Is it Chelmsford?
Chelmsford. C-H. Chelmsford.
Okay.
You have to excuse us. We speak American English.
That's right. Bloody Americans. They slaughter everything. Well, anyhow, from this news report, this is actually dated Thursday, June 5th, 2014. Okay. Now, apparently, the Watchtower Society, well, excuse me, we're going to change names because that's what's in the article. There's a name change coming.
Yeah.
But for right now, Watchtower Society has found a piece of property in Chelmsford? Chelmsford. Bloody Americans. Chelmsford. And what I'm going to read is, we just went through the news article. We're going to post a link to it down below so you can read the full article. I mean, actually, there's 2 separate articles if I'm correct, if I remember correctly. 3. So anyhow, this is what was reported by this reporter. The International Bible Students Association.
Which is interesting.
It doesn't say the Watchtower Bible Tract Society. The International Bible Students Association. Isn't it going along right with JW.org now instead of Jehovah's Witnesses, Watchtower and Bible Tract Society?
Well, now what's interesting is how they clarify this.
Yeah, the International Bible Students Association, the charity which manages Jehovah's Witnesses, printing and literature distribution, wants to create a new British headquarters on an 82-acre site at Temple Farm off Ship Road, West Hanningfield. The association, now notice again, as this writer is writing this, he's not referring to the Watchtower Bible. He says the association agrees to buy the land from its current owner. And the deal is expected to exceed 10 million euros. Now, someone else can convert what that is into dollars.
Pounds.
Sure. Pounds, excuse me. Pounds, yes.
Yeah, euros.
Yeah, euros. Yeah, pounds. 10 million pounds. Now, this writer is querying a brother, Peter Black, the agent acting on behalf of the small family, said, oh, excuse me, this would be the property owner, right?
Yeah, the property owner.
The property owner, excuse me, Peter Black, the agent acting on behalf of the small family.
So basically the real estate agent.
The real estate agent, basically. If it goes ahead, it will only create benefits for the people in Chelmsford. It will look absolutely tremendous. I do feel, though, if they can't get the permission to build on the site, then I doubt they will go ahead with it at all. Now, it's interesting that this real estate developer says it will only create benefits for the people. Really? they're going to build this multi-million-dollar facility. How many of Chelmsford people are they going to employ to work the presses? How many people are they going to employ to clean the grounds? How many people are they going to employ to advertise for this? They're not going to benefit the community whatsoever, because we all know that in Jehovah Witness land, everything they do is allegedly done with volunteer help. Okay, so they're not going to add nothing to the community. They're not going to create jobs for the community. At the very least, all they'll do is patronize the restaurants, which will put just a little bit of money into the community.
And we know these workers don't rent homes and, do a lot of shopping because they don't have any money, and they live right on the grounds.
Yeah, so they're not going to. Now, he goes on. Now, the gentleman writing this article actually does talk to a Jehovah's Witness named Steve Canning, and he says, Steve Canning from the association. Notice again, it doesn't say the Watchtown Bible Tract Society, the association, which is alluding up to the fact that they're being re-identified as the International Bible Students Association. Okay? So Steve Canning from the association said, we are heartened by the positive response we have received from all parties to date, including the neighborhood residential groups and businesses, even the current occupiers of Temple Farm. Now, we want to keep this in mind because we're going to go and read something in another article just a little bit later, and I think that that's all I wanted to glean out of this. Yeah, we are heartened by the positive responses we have received from all parties due to date.
Okay, now this one is from the Essex Chronicle. Chelmsford to host UK headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses at Temple Farms.
Now, I do want to make a note here. Accompanying this article is a picture of inside the Kingdom Hall. Now, we know that this is a public meeting because if you look at the young gentleman in the background, he's wearing a gray hoodie. So this is not a special meeting deciding whether they're going to be building this site. This is just a regular public meeting. Again, we'll put the link. Look at the picture. You'll see this is a public meeting because that gentleman in the back's wearing a blue hoodie. Notice the empty seats in that Kingdom Hall. Notice how many empty seats are there.
Yeah. Now, it starts off the article with Jehovah's Witnesses are on the verge of buying a rundown car breaker's yard in Essex to convert into their new UK headquarters.
So, in other words, they're buying a junkyard.
Yeah, here in the United States, we call this a wrecking yard or a junkyard.
A junkyard.
Okay, the International Bible Students Association.
Notice a different article, a different time of year, but they're still recognizing Jehovah's Witnesses now as the International Bible Students Association.
Well, this is even a different media.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, the charity used by Jehovah's Witnesses to distribute their literature has agreed to buy the controversial estate pending planning permission. Okay? Now, it's interesting because they had some that were concerned about 800 residents moving into this area, so they were worried, I guess, about them knocking on their doors or something.
So let me just reiterate and refer back. Steve Canning from the association, we are heartened by the positive responses we have received. They're not receiving positive responses. There's a lot of concern in that community about so many people moving into this complex.
Yeah. So anyway, it's this... Okay, while Chelmsford 3 Kingdom Hall meeting houses already coordinate visits to people's homes, Mr. Gillies, who we're familiar with that name because he is part of the NGO member, there in the UK. Mr. Gillies said there will not be an increase in cold call meetings. We won't be knocking on people's doors. That's not the case. We're busy with other things, he said.
Yeah. Developing jw.org so that you can get away from the door-to-door knocking. Now all you do is say, hey, take your little iPad. Let me introduce you to jw.org. If you have any Bible questions, just type it in right here and jw.org will answer your questions for you. That's what they're busy with. So
Mr. Gillies goes on to try to calm people's fears and anxieties and misconceptions. Okay. Mr. Gillies, a director for 7 years, hopes the move can help battle public misconceptions. There are prejudice and misunderstandings working against us, but we're happy to engage with people about preconceptions, added the 59-year-old. If there are prejudice, we feel we can overcome them.
Not anymore.
And then he goes to tell all, they don't smoke cigarettes, they're not into drugs and all of this. But then he says, we try to abide by the Bible, which tells us not only that we should love God, but love our neighbor as we love ourselves. Telling them that they're going to die at Armageddon in their literature.
Unless you become a Jehovah Witness, you'll die at Armageddon. That's just a Jehovah Witness proven fact.
Oh, we're not perfect, though. We make mistakes in the bid to try to elevate ourselves to those high standards. Good luck with that. Okay, now down here in the article, I wanted to point this out because the Chelmsford City Council has previously failed to convert Temple Farm, the subject of planning ideas for more than 7 years, into a business park. Now, this might be the problem why nobody else has wanted to buy this. The daughter of previous owner Jim Small, who was ordered to pay £45,000 by magistrates for running an illegal waste site there in 2007, is now handling the sale after her father's death. It was a stinking toxic waste dump.
It's a toxic waste dump. But it's interesting here, going back to this news article, it's interesting here that the city council had previously failed to convert Temple Farm, the subject of planning idea for more than 7 years, into a religious retreat? No, a business park.
Yeah.
See, it's business.
Yeah. So then we have this other article, and it says, New Jehovah's Witness Chelmsford Headquarters, a business and not an evangelical center.
See, now this was posted January 30th, 2014.
Yeah. And this is the Essex Chronicle again. And the leader, Chelmsford City Council, says it's very sad to hear Chelmsfordians are less than impressed about the potential arrival of Jehovah's Witnesses UK headquarters. So this goes back, if some of the residents there don't want them there.
Well, that actually contradicts Steve Canning earlier comment. Yeah. We are heartened by the positive responses we have received from all parties to date. No, not everybody there is happy to see this building going up.
Yeah, and so then he goes on to quote, it's a business, a place for printing their literature. It's not about people who don't like them knocking on their doors.
See, it's a business.
Yeah, to where they're going to be printing.
A business park.
Yeah.
That's going to be cleaned up of its toxic waste by volunteer labor, Jehovah's Witnesses.
We're probably going to get contaminated.
Yeah, so Watchtower the International Bible Students Association bought this property relatively dirt cheap by today's standards, and they're going to have the cleanup work done probably for absolutely free by volunteer Jehovah's Witnesses, and then 15, 20, 30 years from now, when they consolidate even smaller, that they're going to turn around and sell it for even more money than it's worth because of all of the free labor they've got into this.
Yeah. So he goes on to say they are not there to produce an evangelical center. It's their printing works. As such, we don't criticize it in the slightest, just as we don't other religious groups. The name evokes problems, but so do lots of other religious names. But we are treating it as primarily a business. So how can they keep their charity status if even the city councilmen are treating it as a business?
Right. See, and again, even in this article that we have right here, they're not referring to them as Watchtower Bible Tract Society. Again, the International Bible Students Association, the charity Jehovah's Witnesses use to distribute their literature.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this area, because this goes on in the same article, that only on Tuesday, Michael Bowers of ABS, Skips, was fined £6,000 in order to pay £2,000 to the Environment Agency for operating 3 illegal waste sites in Temple Farm. They're going to put this headquarters, it sounds like, in the middle of a toxic waste dump. Wow.
How is that letting your reasonableness, Jehovah's Witnesses, shine forth? Is it really reasonable to think that you can take a piece of property like this, a toxic? See, this isn't the same idea that was shown forth in the early days, because Kim and I do know through Watchtower history that there was some properties bought in New York City that were actually a quicksand area. And Jehovah's Witnesses went in there, cleaned out all of these, all of the quicksand, and then they built their world headquarters. Again, done voluntary labor and everything else. And now they're turning around and selling this property for millions upon millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But this isn't the same as digging out a quicksand. You're talking about toxic waste here.
Yeah. So then he goes on to say, I think it's good news. That site is unappealing as it stands. Well, of course, the city council is going to be happy to have witnesses come in there and clean it up.
Clean it up
for free.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now
we get to
the good part.
Now we get to the interesting part, because our friend Duke has sent us a part that was on their service meeting. Now, he has asked us not to play the entire part because he thinks the elder doing the part and reading the elder's letter afterwards might be recognized, and I haven't figured out how to alter the elder's voice. I thought, give him a little girl's voice. That would be hilarious. So if I ever figure that out, I'll put the entire part.
Maybe give him a voice of a guy who got right. I just
lost it, huh?
Yeah. Who got kneed right in the vital area.
Yeah. Okay, now what we have here is a part, and we have been talking, amongst ourselves and friends for several months now, that we feel that Kingdom Halls are going to start buying these big ass flat screen TVs and putting them up at the platform so that they can stream stuff in automatically. Yep. Sure enough, we're hearing Kingdom Halls are doing this.
Well, go ahead. I'm just going to add when you get done.
And so Duke sent us an email and he says, yep, I think you're right. There will be meetings streaming directly from the governing body. Now, that's what we told him we thought was going to start happening. So he says, you're definitely on the right tracks about the governing body. Already, as I think the brother mentioned on a recording I sent a while back about the Pioneer meeting, they now have screens in the Pioneer meetings which play governing body, pre-recorded lessons, and instruction. This elder I know also just told me that it was the same as the elders training school, which happened recently. So I seriously doubt it will be long before the GB are featured in the Kingdom Halls giving us spiritual food directly.
Yeah. And it really makes sense, because now Jehovah's Witnesses can take their little tablets to the meeting, and instead of wasting all the ink and all the paper required to print out a Watchtower, they can take in their little tablets, and all they can do is just scroll down and read along as the paragraphs are being read and everything else. So you can just see that there's a certain feel in the air that Watchtower, or JW.org, also known as the International Bible Students Association, are actually
going
shrinking. They're becoming more isolated with the way they do their preaching work and the way they now receive their spiritual food at the proper time. It's not going to come from a elder that spends weeks on end developing a public talk like what I used to do. No, it's all going to come right straight from the governing body.
Yeah.
Which is going to make them feel even more, oh, what a blessing from Jehovah. Oh.
Okay, so what you're going to hear next is an audio clip of a video that was streamed into the Kingdom Halls in the UK about the new branch plans project that is going ahead.
Now, also remember, the first letter we read that dated August 1st, 2013, that their brothers were encouraged to start donating, start saving, and everything else. So when you listen to the audio, listen how this member from Watchtower that streams in, he will, let's see, actually, am I saying this correct?
It's from the London branch.
It's from the London branch. How they are alluding to the fact that they don't have enough money to go along with the plans.
And what's interesting is he talks about, he reads a scripture about planning ahead, plan
Yeah,
out
if a
your
man,
project
yeah,
before you start building.
yeah,
And then they basically allude to that they
they don't
ran out
have
of
enough
money.
money. They
They
don't
don't
have
have
enough
enough.
money.
Why
Yeah,
don't you
so
use the
they're
sale from some of the property that you've been selling all over the entire world? Use some of that money.
just listen closely and you will see that they are soliciting funds because they even talk about going above and beyond what they've already agreed to donate. And then now more pieces of paper are going to be passed out so that they can kind of get an idea how much more money they're going to have coming in.
Yeah.
This good news of the kingdom will be preached in all the inhabited earth for a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. As kingdom publishers, we each have a responsibility to fulfill this task. Here at Bethel, we are happy to provide the direction and the tools to help with this accelerating work. For over a year, the design team has been working on plans for a consolidated branch, one where we can better care for the increasing kingdom work. We're delighted to inform you that we now have the governing body's approval to relocate our branch. Jehovah's organisation has continually expanded throughout the years to keep up with the needs in the field. Would you like to see how?
Prior to our moving to Mill Hill, Bethel was located in central London, just a short walk from Kensington Gardens. There were only 35 in Bethel. Brother Nora wanted to take the London branch into printing. And so in 1958, we moved to Mill Hill.
The workforce has grown dramatically. 40 years ago, there were 70. Now, it's over 700.
Ever since we moved into our present facilities at Watchtower House, it feels like we've never stopped expanding and growing just to meet up with the increasing needs of the field.
The work globally keeps increasing. The work that Britain has been asked to do has gradually increased too. It's been necessary to get additional warehouses and properties, both to be able to fulfill the production and also to house those who are working here. The spirit within the branch is excellent. The brothers have a real will to work, and there's no doubt Jehovah has blessed that spirit richly over the years.
The various expansion projects have only been made possible because of the willing spirit of the brothers and sisters who contributed their time and their finances. I personally really appreciated seeing Jehovah's direction.
Because our current facilities present us with many difficulties, we spent the last few years searching for a suitable site to relocate Bethel. We've considered some 300 different locations. Finally, we've found a suitable area near Chelmsford in Essex. This property is presently known as Temple Farm. Here, we plan to relocate the whole operation of the Britain branch. We shall need to do a lot of work to transform this site. In fact, this work has already begun.
When I first visited this site, straight away you could see immediately the potential this had to be the new branch facility.
I think it's absolutely unbelievable that we've been led to such an ideal location, offering such an excellent facility for us. There's every indication that Jehovah is right behind what's going on at Temple Farm.
There is an amazing team of very talented brothers and sisters that have been working on this project for a long time.
So far we've had people volunteering from all different backgrounds, but each one of them Jehovah's been able to use in some fashion on the project.
Currently we are working hard on the outline planning application, and we're also working on site setup, so looking at site staging options and possibilities around the Temple Farm site.
The wonderful thing about the branch design is that it is functional, it's appealing, but it's not lavish or luxurious. It's something that's appropriate to the needs of a diverse Bethel family, but also something that will reflect well on Jehovah's name, bring praise to him.
We don't fall in love with buildings. We don't have a sentimental attachment to a building. We look after it while we've got it, use it to the maximum, but we want buildings that are going to really provide the brothers with what they need at the time they need it.
Now seems to be the right time. Jehovah definitely seems to be blessing this project.
This new Bethel's not just going to benefit us here in England, it's going to benefit the brothers and sisters in many other countries that our branch supports.
No matter their situation, every brother and sister, no matter their age or health, can be praying for Jehovah's blessing on this project.
To turn this site into a Bethel home is going to take a tremendous amount of work, and what we need to accomplish it is our brothers and sisters, and without them it's not going to be possible.
Consider now the illustration that Jesus gave, recorded at Luke 14, verse 28. Who of you wanting to build a tower does not first sit down and calculate the expense to see if he has enough to complete it? Now why does the builder have to make that calculation? Verse 29 explains, otherwise he might lay its foundation but not be able to finish it. Here is where we can all individually have a part. Building costs have soared in recent years, and the amount we need to complete the new branch is more than we originally thought. Furthermore, an immense workforce will be needed to build the branch. So now it's time for us to consider, can we complete the tower? In order to do this, we want to think how we can help individually, by prayer, by volunteering, and by our much needed donations. We are confident that Jehovah will bless all the time and resources we devote to our new branch. This is a very exciting project in which we can all have a full share.
Okay, very interesting.
What a blessing from Jehovah. Now they can get the talk streamed directly from Bethel into the Kingdom Halls.
Okay, now right after they played this video, they had a short part where they read a letter. Now, I don't happen to have a copy of that letter, but it was basically saying, you know, the same thing that was in the video, that they read Psalms 127:1 about Jehovah brings the house, you know, and pray for the project. And you know, he says, we need your prayers, we need volunteers, and we need your money. Now, what's interesting...
The search for more money.
Yeah, and it's interesting because after he reads the letter, they start handing out slips of paper to each one of, you know, the families, and he makes the point and is explaining that the amount they're going to write down is above and beyond, on top of what they're already giving for donations. So he makes that perfectly clear, you know, and
keep in mind that when this slip is going out, you know, like I said, we don't have the letter, and Duke did, his wishes were that we not play the reading of the letter so nobody recognizes the elder's voice. So all we can do is talk about it. But during this letter, it's also noted that the amount that they put in that slip will be a monthly amount from that person and or that family.
Yeah, and what's interesting about what is in this clip of this video, so we can start talking about what was in the actual video, is he talks about, you know, planning out, he makes reference to the scripture, what Jesus said about planning out, you know, what you're going to do in the building. Well, then he turns right around and says,
because of soaring construction costs, we didn't plan enough. Really?
More than originally planned.
I thought Jehovah was blessing this. Because, see, right during that part, the brother from Bethel says, now seems to be the right time. And Jehovah seems to be blessing it. Do you see the contradiction? Even in this, Jehovah's not blessing this. What this is this is a blatant money scam, is what this is.
Yeah, why don't you use some of the money that you're going to, you know, from all the other property you've sold all over the world?
Yeah, because if Armageddon is truly right around the corner, then why is God gonna bless this. God knows when Armageddon's gonna come, Jehovah's Witnesses. So if God knows that Armageddon is gonna come within the very near future, then why would he bless the efforts to build a multi-million-dollar recreational facility? Because that's exactly what it is. This is a business plan, and Jehovah's Witnesses in Europe are being scammed out of more money, because he says now seems to be the right time, and Jehovah seems to be blessing it. If Jehovah seems to be blessing it, then why do you need to fleece the people for more money? You're being scammed again. Yeah. Simple as that.
And it's interesting because I don't remember if it was in the video clip or if it's in the part afterwards, but they mentioned that they need to consolidate the UK branch. It's like consolidate. Does that mean make smaller or bring it all together? And
consolidating and expanding work don't need to be in the same sentence structure.
Yeah, that's kind of like an oxymoron.
Like oxymoron, exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
Jehovah's Witnesses, when are you going to finally get in tune with the music that's being played? You're being fleeced for every dime you have.
And what's interesting is we are hearing some rumors from different ones that this new project, this in the UK for the new branch, that if you bring it up in discussion in your congregation, the subject is immediately changed and they don't want to talk about it. So obviously there might be some, in the congregations themselves that are very uncomfortable with the way this is being done and just don't want to say anything.
Yep, exactly.
So
is that all we have to say about that?
Thank you, Duke, for sending that.
Yes, thank you. And the more that get sent to us, the more we're just going to do videos and just exposing, the Watchtower and Babel Crap Society for what it is. It's not a religious entity. It's a worldwide multi-billion-dollar business venture that is being built solely by volunteer labor, volunteer money donations, and Watchtower is reaping all the benefits when these properties are being sold.
Yeah, and I just want to mention the reason that we kept bringing up the International Bible Students Association, and this is very commonly known in the UK by this name. Everybody's familiar with that. Well, here in the United States, we're not as familiar with that name. To us, that is the Bible students back in Russell's day.
Exactly.
And a lot of witnesses here in this country do not know that they are still functioning as the International Bible Students, and they do still hold that corporation, all over the world. So,
but it's not a familiar term here in the United States. We don't refer to Watchtower as the International Bible Student Association. We just refer to it as Watchtower, or as I like to say, the Watchtower and Babel Crap Society.
Yeah.
So.
Or like Edie says, Witch Tower.
Witch Tower and Babel Crap Society. True.
So the kids are coming, so we are going to sign off now. And did you have anything else to say?
Nope, that's all I want to say.
All right, just a shout out to everybody and all of our friends. And we're sorry we haven't had a chance to talk to you guys all lately. I know, just busy.
Say goodnight, Kim.
Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend.